Afternoon, folks. Welcome to the stream. It is Tuesday. It's Dev Day. We're getting back into doing stuff in Construct 3. So yeah, we are doing our first of our Make a Thing streams today, which are kind of more like tutorial sort of things. The idea being to get them up on YouTube, get more cool Construct tutorial content out there. Today's topic is something I've never done before, so this could go one of two ways. It'll either be brilliant, or I'm going to be doing a lot of floundering. But we're going to look at making an idle/clicker game. You know those things where you just tap on your screen, you earn money, you build things, you earn more money, and the cycle continues. That's the plan anyway. So yeah, so I guess the first thing to do is make a new project. We'll pop it in, yeah, standard definition landscape portrait, because oh wow, I feel like you would you play a clicker game in landscape? I've not come across one, but hey, I don't play that thing very much. So we'll go with that. This'll do. This is fine. Clicker game. Woo. And hey, look, we already have a thing. So let's get this show on the road. The first couple of things we need to do, we are going to basically be running this using a lot of global variables so we can keep track of various bits and pieces. Obviously you need to know how much currency you've got, which is generated when you tap the screen. So we need a variable for currency, how much money the player has earned. Then the idea being you can buy items that increase the multiplier, so as well as when you tap the screen, there'll be a timer that every so often more will be added to your pot that you've earned, you know, passively. So we need multipliers. So, I don't even know how to write a subscription for that, but multiplier. If you're earning things, then the idea being you would kind of want that to carry on while the app's suspended or your game is suspended, whatever platform you plan on releasing this. So we need a way to check the time the app was closed and then reopened. And to do that, we can use Unix time. So yeah, you get to watch me do maths later. That's going to be fun. So we Unix time close. The Unix time on app close. And copy that, paste it, then the same thing, but obviously when it opens we'll compare them and then figure out how much currency needs to be added. We'll be using the touch plugin because the nice thing with touch is it can also count for mouse clicks, so if you wanted to have it browser based or as a downloadable, it would still work. The code should still be the same. So we need touch. We want to show the player how much currency or whatever they have at any given time. So we'll need a text box for that. And in simple terms, we could actually almost build the game now. Touch. We say on tap. Add action. System. Add to our currency value. And for every tap, we want to add 1 times our multiplier. Multiplier. And then every tick, we want to set our currency display. Where's set text? There we go. Set text to currency. There we go. Lovely. Cool. So there you go. Immediately you have a clicker just with 2 events. And then I suppose if you wanted to kind of change things up a bit, you could have another variable, which is, I guess, tap number. So you could buy items that would increase the number of taps or number of currency you get on a single tap. Amount of currency received, I still can't spell, on a single tap. Boom, there we go. Which starts at 1. Variables for time. That needs to go up there. There we go. Now I can actually see what all my different variables do in it. just looks a bit nicer. So we have our every tick event, we have our on tap. This is fine, you can literally build currency, but you kind of want a sort of bit to add over time as well, not just with your tapping. So we can say every X seconds, where in this case we'll say X is 1. This is fine. Every second we want to add, we say tap number. No, we want to add that to currency. We want to add tap number to currency. So now, if we just stick that on, this should go up on its own. There we go. Even by doing nothing, we are now earning things, but we can also increase by tapping more quickly. Lovely. That is the bare minimum for a clicker. So, let's just add a random sprite. Now in my head, I had this idea of making this kind of farm themed, because, I don't know, why not? Why not? So the first thing we're going to have on our farm, use my appalling artwork, is some kind of crop, which looks mildly like whatever that is. Maybe wheat, I don't know. Okay, we have a crop. So one of the things I guess we might want to buy in our shop is a way to upgrade the crop. Let's have another little text thing down here. Crop level. Yes, we need a level counter on our crop so we know how well it's doing. The current level of the sellable object. That sounds like a thing. Cool. And that starts at level 1. Because if you start everything at 0, your maths goes funny. So we also want to... Nope, not currency display, crop level. Search text to... I need to change the name of that. Sprite.level. Actually, hang on, let's have level space and there we go. So at least it's not just a random number. Make sure that displays correctly. Level 1, lovely. Suppose for the time being we could ignore the shop, and a very simple way of doing the clicker would literally be you have a button and it says, make it blue. Oh, fill tool please. We want to make it a different size. Let's make it only 150 height, so it's more like a rectangle. We want to say this is the button that says, and that's a little bit nicer. Excuse my writing. Upgrade! There we go, that's a thing. I put it on the wrong layer. That needs to go on the game layer for now. So, then we say, when our currency, where are we? There we go. Compare variable. If currency is equal to 200, let's say, then, nope, set the button to visible. So you won't see the button until you have enough money to upgrade it. On touch, on tap object, our button, add action, we want to add 1 to the level of our crop, and subtract 200 from the currency. Just rename some bits, shall we? Upgrade button. Rename. That is crop. Cool. Add. We'll have another condition just to make sure that even if you know where the button is and you're not just madly tapping, you accidentally hit it. So we can only tap on it when it's visible. So let's just see if that works. So we've got our currency slowly going up. Let's tap it madly. I should probably up the multiplier on this because otherwise we're going to be here for ages. Let's do it in debug so I can change things on the fly. There we go. System, where are we? Where's my multiplier? Here we go. Let's add, I don't know, I get a 10 times multiplier. Lovely. That's just going up and up and up. So immediate problem, never use equals to. Greater or equal, because if it never actually hits the number you have specified, then obviously the event is never true and it will never appear. Alright. Just change that. Stick that to 10 and the tap number to 5. There we go. There we go. So, our button, because we're over 200, our button is here to upgrade. So hopefully when we press upgrade, there we go, we've lost money from our currency and our crop is now level 2. So, that's great. But currently, you know, a level is just a very arbitrary thing. So what you can do is, as well as level, you could have each crop or each item could have its own tap count, which is the number of taps added. And actually you could have 2 of them. You could have a passive tap count, which just adds money to the pot without you doing anything. And you could have the active tap count, which again starts at 1. So if you actually click on the crop like you're working on it, then you add a different number of taps when the object is tapped. So let's say if you're actually working on it, you get 5 taps every time you tap the object, rather than just 1, which goes up passively. So now we can say, compare the instance variable. So if the level is equal to 2, then we want to set the value of our passive tap count to... So the passive could just be the same as the level. You could have it exponentially going up. You could do lots of things with it. We'll just set it to whatever its level is, because that's easy. And we want to set the active tap count to, let's say, 5 times level. Crop.level. So again, when we upgrade our crop when we get there. Oh yeah, I was doing that in debug, wasn't I? Let's up tap number to 10, multiplier to 5. There we go. Every X seconds add tap number plus crop dot passive tap count. There we go. So now we're getting 1 from the crop and our other, whatever I called it, passive thing, because I set it to 10, otherwise we'd be here till Christmas. We've gone over 200. Upgrade button has appeared. lost our currency, but we're now level 2. And we're going up more quickly if we click. Yeah. Levels can mean something which is nice, but we need to actually do something when we touch our crop. So on crop, we want to, again, add to currency, but we want to add the value of crop.active tap count. So we're starting with 5. So every time we tap this guy, we should add 5, possibly. So where are we? Crop. Active tap count is 5. So when we click on the crop, we are adding the active tap number to the total, which is great. Now, talking of doing the units, there is a tutorial, and I am going to drop the tutorial into the chat because I definitely didn't come up with this. Boop. There we go. So if you guys want to look at a way to display numbers in terms of units, so that's, you know, million, billion, whatever, then that tutorial is really, really good. I am not going to pretend I came up with that. We can add a new dictionary. So the way this is laid out basically means when we put the really long maths function in, it will pull out how many zeros are in and assign the appropriate unit. So we can start with 3, which is the equivalent of 1,000, or we could do it as K. That's quite nice and simple. Let's put 5 in, shall we? 6 is mil for million. 9 is then billion. 12 trillion. Now there will be arguments because there are different ways that people define millions and billions, but I've started with this and I will stick with it. We'll call it quad because quadrillion starts to get a bit weird, but there you go. So this is where we can kind of differentiate how we display our currencies. So if we say the currency compare variable, there we go. If currency is less than or equal to 1,000, then we simply set the text to currency. But, oh no. If the currency is greater than or equal to 1,001, now you'll have to bear with me because this is really complicated. If you look at that tutorial, it will explain the maths substantially better than I can. So please, if you are curious, go and look at that. It's very good. So we want to set our text to, well, we'll just take out the bit in the middle of, oh, I missed an and. That's what it is. There we go. That's the thing when you start getting these really long and complicated strings and mathsy things, making sure you've got all of the ampersands in there is hugely important. So with any luck, don't do what I always do, which is make a new dictionary or array or JSON file or whatever project file you've done, and then forget to actually load it into the object that you're using. So for that we need to use Ajax on the start of our layout. It's down here somewhere. On start of layout, we need to request the project file so we can actually use it in the game. We'll call this unit load, and we need our dictionary. New dictionary document. I will rename that. There we go. Bring that to the top. Then, when that is finished, Ajax on completed, tag unit load. We need to load that project file into the dictionary. And we do that with ajax.lastData. There we go, pop that up there just for organization's sake. Cool, so in theory, providing I've done that correctly, this text box should now... Actually, let's do this in debug so we can change bits on the fly. Because otherwise we are going to be clicking for a very long time. So let's stick a 100 times multiplier, I keep saying multiplier, and 100 tap number. Nope, that's still not enough. 1,000. There we go, so now we're over 1,000, so it says K. If we keep going, hopefully, at some point, it should switch to mil. We're still in Ks and we shouldn't be in Ks. Okay, I'm gonna need to look into that. Where's my dictionary? There. Yeah, it's interesting it didn't switch between million, billion, and so on. I will need to look at that. But at least we got it to display 1,000, so that's a start. Where are we? On suspended. We want to set our Unix time close value to, I assume it's system, no, Unix time. And then on resumed, set Unix time open to, again, just Unix time. So we can have this one as, we have a whole group just for Unix time rubbish. As a subgroup in there. So we want to, now, I think so. We want to subtract close from open. Just going to be compare, no. Actually, let's have another one, which is Unix time difference, or diff, that'll do. Add action, set Unix time difference to open minus close. That seems like it should work. Possibly. We shall see. We can revisit that later. So okay, let's just see if we get a value registered. If we pause. Ah, right, so close has come up, that's great. Ah! It's not times by 1,000, it's divide by 1,000. I can maths. That's okay, so suspended and closed works in that way. Which is great. Okay. So it will be divide by 1,000, because obviously we're going from milliseconds to seconds. Then we want to, let's add another variable actually, which is going to be seconds passed, number of seconds between Unix close and Unix open. Add action, set seconds passed to Unix diff over 1,000. So let's just pop back into debug and make sure those are set properly. There we go. Right, so pause. Unix time is set. Resume. There we go, 6.393 seconds. Lovely! Haha, I like it. So yeah, that is a way of making Unix time work. Yeah, we will definitely save all the values either to local storage or we'll use the built-in save games. Because these are all stored in global variables, they should be stored in save games, which will be easier. So we can say every... Because that's the thing with a clicker game, you obviously want it to auto-save, but what is the correct rate of auto-saving? Every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds? How long is a person using a clicker game for? I don't know, every 10 seconds, let's say. Save, where's that? Save. To my save, because there is only one. Let's have a global boolean, which is first load. Right, we need some sub events. So on start of layout, we want is our boolean set for first load. Invert that. Oh, okay, so it is first load, then we want to request the dictionary. We want to not... Yeah, there's nothing to load, so that's fine. And then we want to set our boolean to false. Which should mean that every time it loads afterwards, we go from the save game. So let's drag that down, invert that, and say load. From my save. And in theory, that is basically what we all will need to do for saving and loading. Let's find out. Hop into debug again just so I can keep an eye on my variables. Alright, so we're doing all of this. Need to wait for 10 seconds so that it should save. Right, so that should have saved twice. So what are we on? We should be somewhere near 290 something. Let's close that. And with any luck... Yay! It did it! It worked! Wonderful! I like it. 10 seconds may not be frequent enough. Probably isn't. But it's fine for this. This is totally okay. In what? 20 events? And technically you don't need all these layers, so this very basic version could easily be made in the free edition. We have a super simple saving and loading clicker game in 20 events. I mean, it's not fun in any way, but it proves the point. Going from this super simpleness to something a little bit more complicated, I think, is the next step. So as you'll see in the bottom here, we've got all of these different layers. Onions have layers. So we'll want to do something with the shop. So we'll have a button that you can bring the shop up and actually buy new things. It's where all of these upgrade buttons will be. We can actually implement the panning thing so we can move around our layout. But why don't... This is the whole sort of screen we've got here. Let's drop in a tile map. We'll just use the sample because it's perfect for this. That needs to go onto the game. Grab our tile map bar. We'll just fill it with grass for the time being. Okay. Grass! This also will need to go to the bottom of our layer. There we go. So we'll just drop in some random bits and pieces so we can actually, you know, make it... Which tile map? This is the standard tile map that just comes with Construct 3. So anytime you load, you drop a new tile map into Construct 3, this is the standard sample that you'll get. Let's just build some random stuff. So this whole thing here with the earning stuff is great, not very scalable. So what I'm going to do is rename the crop object to the... I'm trying to think of the word. Product. That's the word. And I'm going to rename the animation to crop. Add another animation, which we're going to call sheep, because I can draw sheep, it's easy. There you go, 100% of sheep. That's still fine, so the active tap count is currency, but now we can add another one of these. And we'll say this one is a sheep. Ooh, let's lock our tile map, otherwise I'm going to be constantly moving that, and that's going to be a pain. Remember, right click, select lock, and that's how you can lock or unlock your bits and mean that you don't accidentally start dragging your background around. Yeah, product active tap counts currency. So if we go to our sheep, we say sheep earn more than crops, so we'll set our active tap count to 15 and our passive to 10, let's say, at level 1. So I'm just thinking in terms of picking. Now we've got 2 of them. Let's see. So tap number, let's say tap number is 0, because that will make my life easier. Multiplier is 1. So every second add something to our passive tap count. Now, if it's picking both of them, that should be 10 plus 1, it should be 11 every second. It is 11, that I can count. I don't know why we're stuck down the bottom here now. I kind of need an anchor for the camera, I think. But that's something else entirely. The good thing is all the saving and loading stuff seems to be working, which is nice. I'm going to disable that group for the time being. Just going to grab a sprite for the minute, which is going to just be our camera, just so it should stick to that. Camera. Make that like 25% opacity so I can actually see underneath it. And we want to give it scroll to. Make it about the size of the viewport. Good. We now see that bit. That's fine. But we don't need the camera to be visible, so that can disappear. Lovely. Fix my random scrolling problems that I'll have to go back and look at. Yes, we've got rid of the touch panning. We can now at least stick with this bit and we can see it. So let's rename that, which is going to be upgrade corn. We'll duplicate that. We'll clone it even. Upgrade sheep. Drag that in. There we go. So crop level, go and clone that. Sheep level. So this is the super simple, super bitty, you know, bare minimum example of a clicker. That's the word. So we have crop earning. Let's just copy that and paste it. And this is going to be. Ooh. Oh, fun fact. If you right click and press F2, then that adds a bookmark to your thing. I didn't know that. Oh no, you just press F2. That's cool. I didn't realise that you couldn't rename a group that way. There you go. Sheep earnings. So you can kind of add your level brackets in here. So if we have, let's copy that a minute. Paste that, bring it up here. Pop that in as a sub event. So if the level is equal to 1, we don't need those, and currency is greater than 200, then you press upgrade corn. And we can pop that in as a sub event as well, if it's visible. So yeah, Then, if the level is 2, we want to add, we'll reset the passive and active counts. Then we'll need another thing. We want to actually set that back to invisible. No, I didn't press that. Thank you. Invisible. Done. And then let's say you can upgrade your corn again after you hit 500. Set visibility to visible. Copy and drag that down to there. Again, add 1 to level. Subtract 500 this time. And set the invisibility to visible. Yeah. Set it back to invisible. Copy and paste. We'll do 3 levels for each, shall we say. That seems reasonable. And this time you have to get to 1,000. Subtract 5, subtract 1,000. Oh, not 100. From there. So let's see if our random upgrades now work. We'll ignore the sheep because I haven't fixed that yet. So we can upgrade to level 2. We've taken that off. That's great. But it's not set it back to invisible again. Oh, of course, because sheep, that's still set to upgrade corn. That's why. Disable that group. Let's let it get to 200. Come on. There we go. Right. Upgrade. Disappears. Good. And we're level 2. I find it very interesting that according to the debug, there is only 1 sheep. That's a little strange. Although I suppose if we're loading the entire state of the game, let's just turn that off, actually. Just put that there anyway. And we'll turn off the loading stuff for the time being. So in theory, we should start from a clean slate. Hey, there we go. Which does mean we can test this properly without me messing about, although it's going to take me a while to get to 200. Please bear with me. Please bear with me, viewers. Spam. There we go. Upgrade button. Lovely. It subtracted it. Great. That needs to change. That's crop level. That should be sheep level. Oh, no. We want to delete that object because we want this one. There we go. Lovely. Because this is much easier. Copy. Paste. Drag it back into the group. Right. That needs to be upgrade sheep. That needs to be upgrade sheep. So, what's probably worth doing? Let's add another condition, which we will determine what the product is based on what animation is currently being shown. Is playing what I want, and the animation in this case is crop. So again, we drag those down there. And here, we don't want is crop playing. We want is sheep playing. Drag that down there. Oh, excuse me. Come on, there we go. I'll pop that there. Although to be fair, we probably only need 1 of those because it's triggered being on a tap gesture. Then it should be okay. I'm gonna pop that in here. Shouldn't really go there, but it's fine. So let's change our sheep numbers. So if we say for sheep, the first one is 450. The second one for sheep is 1500. And the third one for sheep is 2000. I'm going to up the multipliers because otherwise this is going to take a while to test. So tap number will leave as 0. Actually, do I use the multipliers in this? I feel like I should do. I do not. I should. Why use animations and not another instance variable name, for example? You could do either way. In fact, I do something very similar in my RPG project where I have one object and it's got a load of different animation names. And then there's an instance variable stored on the NPC. And the animation is then determined by the variable. Both should work. I may re-rig this when I, look at it off stream to use instance variables rather than animations. I realise all of this needs to be multiplied by the multiplier, otherwise it's pointless having a multiplier. Oi! There we go. Now we again multiply by the multiplier. That's fine. Passive, so that's cool. That should be fine. Yeah, 450, 1500, and 3000, because random numbers. It's all arbitrary. And actually, we want to change active tap count. What do I set that to on the sheep? 15. So actually, rather than having here, you would multiply active tap count. Product dot active tap count multiplied by product level. If you didn't want to manually set it for everything. Get rid of that. Oh, I should just drag it up and then delete it, otherwise I'll forget that where it's supposed to go. There. Okie dokie. I just want to change these to subtract 450. Because again, this is all it's very set, you can't really change it. One thing you could do with this is to have an array or a dictionary or whatever that stores the levels and the subsequent values of all the upgrades. Okay, let's see. Our loading and saving should be off, so we should be starting from 0. Oh, I'm not actually setting the sheep level text, am I? Drag that down there. And another one. Press B to add a blank sub-event. And that needs to be sheep level. We'll bring that up. Level 1, lovely. So we tap on these, it's going up nicely. There we go. We upgrade that, that's gone to level 2, this is still level 1. So we took off the 200 from there. We can't afford this yet, but we actually haven't got a condition in here that says you can only purchase this if you have the correct currency. It just says if it's greater than or equal to, then show the thing. But you can still click on it and you can still buy it and it'll just take you down to negative values, which isn't ideal. Oh, hello. That's gone wrong. We've got not a number. There's definitely something wrong there. Cool. Well, that was fun. So our corn is now just constantly going up. Yeah, it's when we're multiplying that. Cool. Well, that was fun. Because it's... Oh, of course, it's set to every tick. That's why. So, what that would suggest I need to do is drop the trigger. Get rid of that. Get rid of that a moment. Drop that into a sub-event with the trigger in there. Yeah, because this is the prize where this is happening. It's where that's happening all the time that's causing the thing to just skyrocket. So I'm just going to see if that moving the trigger fixes that. We've got our variable there for upgrading should we require it, which is good. There we go. That's all it needed. Yeah, for 2 it works. Now I just need to move these on these ones. Pop that there. Trigger once. And drag those down to there. And this sort of thing could all be tidied up with a function, I would imagine. So, you know, when your level increases, you do this. But again, that's going to come, I think, in the other video, which is the tidying up and putting the bells and whistles on it. Okay, so yeah, the only thing we don't have is the multiplier to currency. We haven't currently got a way to change the multiplier. Let's just do what Labundi suggested a while ago, which is going to be our current multiplier, purely because I agree it is good to keep track of that. You may not necessarily want that in the final game, but certainly in this case it is very helpful to have. So let's pop that up there. We can put the multiplier underneath it. And then I'm just going to stick it onto the every tick for the time being. Add action. Set text. If you're getting to a big game and you want to do, you know, oh, what's the word? Optimizations, don't put this in every tick, it's pointless. But for demonstration purposes, oh, it's called multiplier, isn't it? There we go. Oh, actually, let's make it a little bit more obvious. So, current multiplier space and that one more ampersand x. There. So pop this back up here. There we go. Current multiplier 1 times. Excellent. So passive earnings, crop earnings, and sheep earnings. I'm going to put this into passive. Add event to passive earning. I'm going to do the boring way for the minute because we've only got 20 minutes left off the stream. So compare variable. If currency is greater than or equal to 500. Actually, let's make it 300. Make it a little lower. Add action. Let's. I need a new object. Multiplier up. Again, initially invisible. Because we only want it to appear when you've got a certain amount of currency. And again, we can store a instance variable in it, which is next multiplier. Which will be 2 because we're currently at 1. So we want to add an action. Set the sprite to visible. Then we want to have our onClicked. Replace that with our sprite that I've not named because I'm terrible. We actually don't want the product option, we want the sprite, and we want to add one to next multiplier. And in this case, subtract 300. So you'd have something similar to this. But if next multiplier equals 2, then you do the whole thing. But I'm only going to put 1 in for the minute and make sure it works. Add one to next multiplier. System. Set value of multiplier to multiplier plus sprite.next. Oh no, it's just set it to sprite.next, isn't it? We don't need to add anything. Oh, of course. That needs to go first, otherwise you end up turning that to 3 and then setting it. So it should go to 2 first. Then you add 1 to next multiplier. Or subtract the currency, add 1, and then set it to invisible so you can't buy it again. I realised I could just manually set this and it'd be quicker, but never mind, we're here now. Okay, 2 times. Excellent. So we're getting 2 taps every second now, which is great. And these have gone up as well. And now we're back again. We can upgrade it to 3. Getting 3 every time. So that's a nice, simple way of increasing your multipliers. You can make it harder, you know. That's a very super simple way of doing it. Yeah, so we have super simple implementation of a clicker game that has 2 separate product types. You can upgrade the levels to increase how much money you earn in every tap. You can increase the multipliers to increase the number of taps you get per second. Only thing I haven't done. Let's see if we can get that working. Unix time is what we were doing. We want to multiply tap number by number of seconds and add that to currency. Add action, system, add to currency. We want seconds passed multiplied by tap number, all, I think, times by the multiplier. Or we use seconds passed? No, let's have seconds passed on the outside of brackets. Multiplied by, just in case, tap number times multiplier. Pause. So we're on 10. Hopefully that will go up when we resume. Yay! There we go. Just need to make sure it's an integer. Yeah, we'll do round up to an integer. That seems nice. Give the players that little tiny bit extra. Let's save this because otherwise I'm gonna forget and then be sad because my things have gone. But yeah, I'm really happy you guys came along today. This has been really good. It was a bit, you know, floundery because I don't know what I'm doing because, you know, this is me. But I feel like we've got a good product here and definitely buildable on for another YouTube video.